I would like to interact for a few minutes with you. As has been mentioned that this session is devoted for water security, for agriculture and rural development. We all can recall that in the last couple of years, when there was COVID and lockdown, 135 crore people kept eating all fresh vegetables, foods, etc., etc. It came from agriculture. So I need not further emphasize on that. Next slide, please. Next slide. The water will determine the quality of life of both rural and urban citizens in future. No water scarcity in India is my conviction. Strategy for management of water and governance ability will decide the fate of future generation. That is about sustainability. Next one. As I mentioned that there is no dearth of water in the country, I take the example of surface water. In the previous technical session, people talked about groundwater. I'm just skipping that. But here, if you can see that we store roughly 257 BCM, billion cubic meter out of 690 BCM. And we waste 50% in irrigation efficiency. You see that it comes around 103 BCM. And if you look at the domestic water demand, if you assume 150 crore people consuming 140 liter per day, and all over 366 days, I put additional leap year all year, so you get 77. So this statistic suggests that we do not have dearth of water. Next one, please. Rainfall is the principal source of water. Water conservation we talked about. Next slide, please. Two simple points. In agriculture, if rainfall deficit, we need irrigation. If rainfall excess, we need drainage on agricultural lands. We all know. Next one, please. If it is extreme, complex and compound inferences, if the rainfall deficit extreme, we have drought. If we have excess, we have flood or reduce. Next one. Crisis of water. It is being felt, as has been emphasized, that beyond 2040, the entire world will be under stress. I think one of the previous speakers mentioned here. Next one. And this crisis will be on the ground surface as well as below the ground surface. Next one. This I refer that if the surface, there may be disaster, there may be famine, there may be drought, there may be flood, etc., etc. We have to understand all the entire citizen, as Dr. Anil K. Garg in the previous session emphasized that we as entire citizen have to own the responsibility about the water. So we have to understand all these things. Climate change is also impacting a lot. So my point here is that each one of the intellectuals have to understand all this. Next one. Here if you look at this map, any XYZ year, these color combination keep changing. If you look at this particular map, in the eastern region with the blue, this is excess water. But in the current year, if you look at now, these are under deficit of water. Conventionally, the region of this country that receives maximum water, this year there is no water, there is a drought. It is often mentioned, all of you are very learned people here assembled, so you realize that in the eastern region this particular year, the rice transplanting could not be completed because of the paucity of water. Next one. So what I want to say that this key color keep changing. So every year, if this year is excess, some area deficit. But all citizens should have water. Next one. Next one, please. Now let us talk about something about agriculture. Please pay attention. I implore that kindly pay attention. It's an assumption that the ministers, advisors, bureaucrats, scientists, engineers, activists and other freelance thinkers are assumed to be sons of farmers of rain-fed areas. Next one, please. And they also do not get any monthly salary, say. Next one. But possess all wisdom and are aware of the facts of the rain-fed agriculture known for the last 6 decades or more. Next one. Empathic thinking. In that backdrop of those assumptions and circumstances, do they still recommend practice of rain-fed agriculture or any Or is status quo sustainable? An honest answer will always be negative. Next one. Jal Shakti Abhiyan was launched in 2019, you all know. Har khet ko jal and har ghar ko nal se jal. Big goal of this country, because that's whatever I showed, it is, trying to see the solution for that. Next one, please. And let us review that our past visionary, Dr. K.L. Rao, he was the irrigation minister, himself was a dam expert. In 1972, he propounded a theory that we should have national water grid, like we have electricity grid. Then 77, Garland Canal by Captain Dastoor, interlinking of river by Vajpayee government 2001, and directive by Supreme Court of India 2014 that the country must have interlinking of river so that the excess water from one basin to the other basin could be transferred to achieve equity. So the above mentioned ideas given by very influential leaders of the country could not be achieved till date. Next one. The vision. The long-term investment for long-term gain as compared to the short-term measures, the country may need 3.5 to 8 lakh crore investment. And that is where the problem is, because this money is not available for water sector. Next one. Mantra, think big, start small, act fast. For act fast, we do not do that. Next one, please. Can we make Indian farmers independent of monsoon and climate change? That is the big question. Next one. Prime Minister Narendra Modi used a metaphor, 2015, first in public meeting, and repeated it on May 26, 2017. It says, farmland is like human body. When we talk about agriculture, we have to consider the water as well as land resources. The land resources, because of urbanization, industrialization, land resources for cultivation is shrinking and degradation, many things are happening. So he mentioned that, and we come to that on the next one. Now this is human body. This we have shown in 2 slides, basically it can be superimposed. So we have an artery system and we have a vein system. And each cell, tissue, organ, big organ, etc., receives adequate fresh blood, and then maybe the kidney and other things, they purify. What I want to say here is that from this body, if all of us imagine, in this country, the first we had only 150 kilometers of railway network. We had only one highway from Peshawar to Calcutta. Now, after so many years, we have developed enormous network on the landscape. Like, I consider the rail and road network as like a skeleton of the body. And then nerve system is like our mobile network. Overseas, wherever your dear ones stays, you are connected with mobile. That is also a network. A lot of investment were made. What I want to emphasize here is that, next slide please. I think I have given enough clue. You are all intelligent people. Here artery is irrigation and vein is drainage. If this could be achieved on the landscape, believe me, there will not be any excess and deficit of water because we have enough water resources. And believe me, this will help. Why it will help? Because in all those telephone network, electricity, you name any network system in the country, we have been able to invest 4 lakh crore, 10 lakh crore, whatever amount in many years. But the most important thing, artery and vein system, which we call irrigation and drainage network, is not there. Next one. Here I write the human artery, vein, tissues and cells correspond to irrigation, drainage, villages and individual small piece of farm of the individual farmer respectively. That's the analogy. Now look at this model. I propounded in 2016. You see this, we have sustainable development goal, we have generic sustainable solution, climate change. 5 is economy, energy, environment, empathy, equity. Economy is economy of water. Economy of water, which we conserve the water, consider precious. Because we are thinking that our generation on this landscape has to exist beyond 30, 40 years from now. So all these things, these 5 V's are very important. This is Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. Under this, in this situation, our artery vein model will offer a generic and sustainable solution. Next one, please. Major flaws in reality. Let's look at what we practice, how we behave. Nowhere irrigation water is measured, no fair pricing of irrigation water. Can we expect higher irrigation water use efficiency? What I want to say here is, any commodity which is neither measured nor fairly priced, how can we expect the kind of human race we are on the landscape would behave, that it will be used efficiently? That is the question. So that is the reason measurement. Next one, please. Paradigm shift is inevitable. We have to change our style of thinking if we want to keep our future generation alive with respect to water. Next one. Define water. Public good economy. People say it's a natural resource, it's free. Why can't? The coal is free, it's a natural resource. Why pyrite is free? Why natural gas, petroleum gas, they're all natural resources, but they're not free. What I want to tell you, in agriculture, if only rain happens, then all the plants and crop will get water. But if there is no rain, the water has to be transported by some means to the root system of the crop. But in the living being, we can walk to the tap, we can walk to the dispenser, we can walk to the well, but plants cannot. So the production for that, we need the entire distribution system, irrigation methods, efficiency and what not. That is the difference. Next one, please. Policy change. I am making a bold slide here. Measure and treasure irrigation water and pay for it. Muft sinchai and muft bijli. No, it means it is not sustainable. I am talking purely on the technical basis. Next one, please. Natural facts, very important slide, please pay attention. Even if irrigation water is of excellent quality, still brings some amount of soluble salts into the field that is irrigated for 20, 30, 40, 50. There are a lot of good chemists and water chemist people out there, they understand. These salts need to be leached out to meet the SDG Sustainable Development Goal and intensive irrigated agriculture. Next one, general irrigation practice. Uncontrolled usage of irrigation water, be it surface water or groundwater, on one side, and insufficient drainage or no subsurface drainage on the other, result in salt buildup in the root zone layer, and that is causing the reduction in the production. Soil health problem, groundwater quantity and quality problem comes up. Next one. Then this technology is the only solution, like in kidney or a urinary tract which we have in the body to make ourselves healthy. Similarly, the additional salts needs to be flushed out. That is the only way here. This is actually from the field slide which I worked many years ago for my PhD. Next one. Now here, very important feature. Standing observation of 5 decades, salinity build-up in agricultural land is a very slow process. Therefore, farmers, engineers, other government officials, policy makers, and political leaders see irrigation only as the need of today, and salinity and water table control through subsurface drainage is a problem of tomorrow. We have been changing and shifting. Next one. The professional knowledge and wisdom suggests that irrigation and drainage go together. Artery and vein system remains together. Head or tail remains the same together. The same message. So the face of irrigation is seen for past over 60 years. Drainage is still waiting for its turn. This will give the health to the, that's why our production level is much lower when we compare from the China or any other places of the world. Next one. The transformation of irrigation and drainage infrastructure. For this, investment, public investment, money, we have to pump in money. Next one. Problem solving approach we knew. Policy, many things has come and so on and so forth. But we must change now and go for a paradigm shift. Proactive and creative cooperation. Very important, proactive and creative cooperation. It's a problem of attitude. Public, private and farmers' participation. This is the soil we see. We can introduce mechanization. On this kind of land, we have this kind of land in this country ranging from 6 to 10 million hectares. For your information, 142 million hectare we cultivate. So out of that, 8 to 10 million hectare of this kind of degraded land. Next one, please. Quickly, these are the materials as needed. Next one, please, quickly. This is the modernized, now this is very important slide. The cost of subsurface land reclamation ranges from region to place, 80,000 to 200,000 per hectare. मतलब 80,000 से 2 लाख रुपए. Cost of land acquisition is for 1 hectare 2.5 crore. So this is a very good trade-off. Very good trade-off. And I just example I did that for 1 lakh hectare, if you want to reclaim, we need 7,500 crore rupees. Next one. Now this kind of land needs to be transformed so that we get more land for cultivation because the population is growing. Population is growing. Next one. This is the power of drainage. We can see from the map. We can increase with the help of drainage technology. We can reclaim the land, and 142 million hectare can be made to the 160 million hectare of land for cultivation. Next one. Then large-scale subsurface drainage technology application for land reclamation may ease the smooth passage of pending land acquisition bill. I want to relate with this because that is, if more land is available, that will be easy to pass the land acquisition bill. Next one. The drainage is soil health. If urinary tract and kidney doesn't function, what happens to our health? The same is for the land, as Mr. Honorable Modi said. Next one, please. The outcome expected once the countrywide networks of irrigation and drainage infrastructure is in place, by the strong political will, I have underlined political will, very important, farmers may become independent of monsoon rainfall and climate change. Poor husbandmen can take diversified crops round the year, minimum 3, maximum 4 per year, and can earn money like any salaried person. This is what, there was a reference for the, China before this session. I think Professor Sadat is here, he mentioned. When Brahma Chelani kept writing editorial for about 10-15 years in most of the newspaper. But the China kept doing. We have been talking this for 1972, 50 years now, but China did the job in 15 years. They implemented, they executed, but we have not been. Next one, please. Some quotes for inspiration. When dealing with water, place practice before theory. This was said by Leonardo da Vinci 400 years ago. Let us collectively modify this dictum in the context of today. When dealing with water, place ancient practices, theory and modern know-how together to solve the water problem. Next one. Focus, farmers first and water first. This has to be there. Farmers first and water first. FFWF for agriculture beyond 2014 in India. Next one. And modern know-how is this. Maybe I am dreaming. Soon India may have network of waterways, likewise roadways, highways, railways, airways, etc., etc. Next one. I can acknowledge honestly to, I think earlier name was written Dr. CSR Murthy, the chair. Now Madam Agrawal is there, Madam Chairperson, and Dr. Anil K. Garg, President, World Water Summit, and CEO Energy Environment Foundation, and all of you who are listening to me. I'm really grateful that you guys have some faith in me for your precious time and so on. Thank you so much. Next slide, please. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Thank you so much. And with the permission of Chair, what I spoke here, in the last 2-3 years, I wrote 5 articles for policy, and I preferred Hindi because it should go in the Hindi population, Hindi-speaking population. So I have brought 7-8 sets, and I will leave with the organizer. If some of you are interested, you can read. Put it on the World Water Day. I wrote, "Khatm ho discharge or recharge ka antar." This was on World Water Day. Also, I wrote दूसरी हरित क्रांति की रूपरेखा, एडिटोरियल पेज पे लिखा है. फिर उस पे हमने लिखा है आत्मनिर्भर कृषि की कुंजी है सिंचाई. जब आत्मनिर्भर कंट्री में ग्लोब चर्चा हुई, उसके बाद लोकल वोकल की भी बात हमने की है. जल शक्ति से जल शक्ति हमने एडिटोरियल लिखा है. और हमने लिखा है जब अटल भूजल योजना लॉन्च हुई थी, आई थिंक 25 दिसंबर 2019 ग्राउंड वाटर पे, उस पर हमने लिखा था कृषि संकट से निपटने का कारगर तरीका। ये 5 मैंने बहुत लिखा है, लेकिन ये 5 मैं चुनिंदा इस कॉन्फ्रेंस के लिए लाया, क्योंकि पॉलिसी पे बोलने से कुछ लोगों को ये रेफरेंस में मिल जाएगा, बट आई हैव हियर, आई लीव इट विद चेयरपर्सन, दोज हु आर इंटरेस्टेड दे कैन हैव। थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू सो मच। कोई प्रश्न है तो मैं चेयरपर्सन, अगर आप चाहेंगे तो मैं जवाब देने के लिए तैयार हूं। ठीक, थैंक यू।